Welcome to the 22nd episode of Teachers Glasses Presents Bollywood TALKies with Outlook. I'm your host, Mitrajit Bhattacharya, and my guest tonight is a huge star and one of the finest actors of our generation, known for pushing the boundaries of mainstream cinema with her choice of movies and roles. Let me welcome, without wasting any time, Bhumi Pednekar to Teachers Glasses Presents Bollywood TALKies with Outlook.
Hello. Hi. That was a very sweet introduction. Thank you so much.
You don't have a shifting to Mumbai with dreams in your eyes story like rest of them. But yours is no less dramatic. So how did you land up with Dum Laga Ke Hai Shah from being the assistant in the casting department of YRF?
You know, sir, I did not move into Mumbai with any dreams, but I definitely had a lot of dreams in my eyes. Trust me. And I had them since I can remember. I come from a very regular family. My family is like full of academics and, they are lawyers, doctors, engineers, and that's the kind of family I come from. So for somebody like me to kind of choose to be an actor was something that they just didn't understand. I am very fortunate to be born in a very liberal family, but still, your family always wants to protect you. So my dad could just not understand that why, like it was beyond him. He wanted me to be in the Indian Foreign Services. And so for him, it was very bizarre. And
even your sister is a lawyer, right? She's a practicing lawyer.
Yeah. She's a practicing lawyer, and everybody in my family. And I think the only connection that maybe, as an artist, my mom did like some work when she was younger, but then she got married, and how it was back then for, I wouldn't say women, but she made different choices in life. Let's put it like that. But my grandfather, he actually ran away from our village in Goa. And he came to Bombay and he was a theatre actor, but then again, life hit him and he got married, whatever. And I was very clear that I wanted to be an actor. And I think from a very young age, I was kind of planning how to do this. I didn't really have an in. I didn't know any people in the fraternity. My parents weren't traditionally the most supportive. So my only way out was, I was like, you know what, maybe join a film school and see how it goes. And I did that. And
you did join Whistling Woods, right?
Yeah.
I
joined Whistling Woods and I was thrown out of Whistling Woods.
Because you did attend their classes.
Yeah, you really, yeah.
I know, I've done my research on you.
I know, I can see. So I didn't really, and my mistake, very big mistake, because I really feel like everything that I learned over a course of 5-6 years, I could have actually learned a little more had I been a little more serious about, film school. But it also has a lot to do with age. I was rather young. I didn't really have the maturity to understand what goes into this professional course. But after that Whistling Woods ka dhakka happened, I realized that that's it. Like, my parents gave me an opportunity. I blew it off. I'd actually taken a student's loan because, I've had a lot of pride that, no, I'm going to do this. And I didn't take a penny from my parents. Obviously, it was against their property, but I had decided to pay it off. And I successfully did that. I was 16. I had a loan of 13 lakh rupees on me, which is a lot for a teenager. Yes. And I had no idea. And I did not take a single EMI from my parents because as I got rusticated from Whistling Woods. I immediately found a job. And I was lucky that this job at YRF happened and that one interview changed my life.
And how did Dum Laga Ke Hai Shah happen while you were casting other people for roles?
My God, that's another story. So, over the years, everybody had kind of heard me conduct auditions, give cues, and many a times directors would, kind of come and tell me that, you should act, blah, blah, because I never firsthand told anybody that I wanted to be an actor. I don't know. I was shy of it. And I thought that, it won't be very fair to my job as a casting director if I have those ambitions openly. And I didn't even tell Shanu. Shanu was very close to me until one day she's like, Bhumi, don't waste your time. You're so young. I think I was 20, 21 then. She's like, get onto it. I said, okay. So I kind of started working on myself, blah, blah, blah. And I was still working because, I still had to support myself. And this script came on, Dam Laga Ke Aisha. I read the script, I loved it, but I wasn't physically the way this girl had to be. So I didn't ever think that this could like a film like Dam Laga Ke Aisha could happen to me. I started auditioning for the film, and one fine day I was asked to do a series of auditions. And I'm used to it, I do it because Shanu would record me and we would kind of share that clip with other actors. So they have a reference.
Right.
And I did that. And that was shown to the director because Adi sir and Manish kind of had this idea that, why don't we try Bhumi? And Shanu obviously was ecstatic about it. And that happened. The director kind of liked me, Sharath, but he was still not convinced because he thought I was very urban, and obviously I was physically not there.
Right.
And it was a process of 3 months and a lot of auditions that he put me. He was a taskmaster with me.
Right.
Sharath was, I feel, very, very strict with me because he just did not at any point want me or anybody else to feel that I got this because I'm an employee at Bayer.
Right.
I was only an employee. I got this on merit. And while that was happening, I was auditioning other girls. So it was a very confusing time for me.
Yeah.
But thank God Dam Laga Ke Aisha happened. And I'm so fortunate because I could not have asked for a better debut. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it all over again.
Any tips for newcomers on how to prepare for auditions? Because you've seen it from the other side. I mean, most other actors who have done very well have not done casting. You have seen from both sides.
I have, but I'll tell you something. Even though I had this experience of casting, I made the same mistakes that any other actor would have made when I started auditioning with Sharath. Because, the process is actually very difficult. It's way tougher than being on a film set and doing those scenes because you barely have any information about what the film is, what your part is. You don't really have a mahal nahi hai. You don't have that atmosphere. You really haven't worked. So I feel auditioning is the toughest part for an actor of your filming process. But I would just definitely say that what really helps is just being yourself. At times actors get very conscious if they don't know any of the languages. If they don't know Hindi, if they don't know English more so, people get so conscious. I would just have to tell them that doesn't matter. You just need to own up to who you are, and that automatically will generate a lot of respect from people. And I feel, it's a very intimidating process, and it's very tough to fight that intimidation, but it's very important too. Because in that small little time frame that you're given, there's so much that you have to prove. So I would just kind of tell actors that ज़्यादातर तो मौका नहीं मिलता एक audition के लिए prepare करने का. But honestly, what we would look for is that X factor. And that X factor doesn't come with how well you're saying your lines. There's a certain amount of talent that you need to have as an actor that will anyways come through, even if you're making mistakes. So play on your personality. Is what I would say.
Were you not worried about putting those extra 12 kgs for the role? Because there are hardly any examples of an overweight newcomer making it big as a leading lady in Hindi movies.
So 12 though, I think shuruaat thi. By the time I was done, it was way over, I don't even know how many kilos. I was some 60 something when I started the process, and shoot karte मैं करीब 90 to 93 kgs की हो गई थी. और I was rather heavy, and I wasn't scared at first. I was actually really enjoying it because मुझे तो मेरा सपना, ये तो मेरा dream था. I would have like any kind of role. See, for me now, I was always very clear that I will be an actor, and I was very clear what kind of work I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a leading lady. I always wanted to kind of help films. But because I don't come from I didn't have any kind of backing or, any of those things. I didn't know how would it happen. So it was luckily my work that kind of gave me that opportunity. But the thing is that I would have done anything for my debut, and I'll still do anything because for me, I treat every film as my first film. I feel so
actually
scared.
That's my next question, that would you do that again if suppose there is a massive role and you know that this is going to be the biggest likely commercial success? Would you still go through the process of maybe not 15 kgs, but would you like
100%.
to do it again?
100%. As you said, just adding to what you said, maybe not as much as I did for Dam Laka Ke Aisha, because that was insane. I'm also older, it took me that process was 2 years. I don't think at this stage I would be able to devote. But 100%, like for Sant Ki Aankh, I gained weight. For Sant Ki Aankh, I had to, because, there were wrinkles on the face. There's a natural spread that age gets and the woman I was playing was like, Chandru Dadi is a strong woman, so I had to kind of match up to her in whatever way. So for Sant Ki Aankh, I gained 10 kilos, and it's something that I also enjoy doing, not gaining weight, but just the transformation that goes behind every character of mine.
Few get a 300 crores box office movie and a meaty role against Akshay Kumar in their very second outing. How did you prepare as Jaya and her campaign against open defecation? And how was it working with Akshay in Toilet Ek Prem Katha?
I would like to say that Toilet Ek Prem Katha was my re-debut. It was my second film, and it really kind of gave me the platform that I required. The timing was so phenomenal. The first time I heard that this film has come my way, I couldn't believe it. Because, your second film with Akshay Kumar, and a film where the girl plays a very pivotal part. Like the film is about them. And when I heard the script, I was amazed. And then I realized that the film stands for a lot more than just this love story or just the songs that are there. And that's why I decided, I was like, Bhumi, you have to do this film. I would have anyways done it. But just the fact that I could be a part of a movie that had such a strong message attached to it, and that kind of spoke about such a huge issue. And as a privileged city girl, I did not realize that, the problem of not having a toilet is so widely spread in the Asian subcontinent, Southeast Asian subcontinent. Precisely. And it's a global issue. And, it's just not about it's not just about hygiene. It is also about security. Because, when I read facts like most women are raped when they go defecate in the open, because that's when they are the most vulnerable. They walk kilometers away from their homes. The timing, it's always dark, because they either go before the sun rises or after the sun sets. Apart from the health and the hygiene danger that this practice causes, it was also a very big threat to a woman's security and her life. And that's when I realized that what a fantastic film. And I just loved working with Akshay sir. He really kind of, because I was fortunate enough to do a film like Toilet with him as my second film, I honestly learned so much from that man. Like his professionalism, just his respect for people, irrespective of, what job they are doing on set. He's pretty uniform with everyone. He is a very happy person. He really is very respectful, and he was so respectful of me. And even while we were promoting, I didn't at any point feel like, oh, I'm with a very big star. I did, because of the way his fans would react. It was mental. It was my first time doing something like that. But I feel just, like no insecurity, because the film was such where I needed to have a voice even while promoting, and he made sure that happened. And there was a lot of parity with him while working with him, which was something I really enjoyed.
You collaborated with another star who has a similar track record of picking up movies made on subjects that deal with social taboo. Like erectile dysfunction or premature baldness and brown skin, all sorts of things. And that who I'm referring to, which is Ayushmann. And you have made Shubh Mangal Savdhan and Bala with him. Tell me about your experience of working with Ayushmann and the satisfaction of creating meaningful cinema that also works at the box office.
Let me start off by talking about Ayushmann. He was my first hero. And out of the 8 films that I've done, it's been 4 years, 3 have been with him. So he
Right.
will always, he's a very dear friend more than a
Right.
co-star. I'm really fond of him, and his journey and his growth feels like, I feel very happy when I see him.
Right.
I'm very happy for where he's reached, and he really deserves it because he's had such a long journey. And I think the forte that me, Ayushman, and I have is that there's a certain kind of cinema that we both kind of create when we get together.
Right.
And the 3 films that we've done have kind of been very true to that genre. And I feel very lucky that together we have created like a space with each other that is very rare. And I love collaborating with him because we are very like-minded where our value system is concerned. And, till date, it's been a 100% success ratio.
That's right.
And I
That's
really
right.
hope that it stays like that in the future as well.
Yeah.
Now, coming to the next part of your question, it's very satisfying to do meaningful cinema. Extremely satisfying. I feel very fortunate that I've never been on a film set and felt like, why am I doing? I don't want to be unhappy doing the work that I do. And, touch wood, till now, that hasn't happened. I haven't really ever been a part of a film that I did not feel rightly about. And I feel like as an actor, my profession comes with a certain responsibility, especially in the times that we are living. There's a lot that needs to change. And if I can use my voice and my craft and the medium that I have been given by God to kind of bring about any kind of positive change around me, I have to be a very lucky person. And that's why I consciously make sure that, yes, the priority is always to entertain your audience. But I always make sure that somehow I just leave them with something more than just a couple of laughs.
In 2019, apart from Bala, you also had 3 other releases. The hugely successful Sarki Arc, Sonchiriya, which in spite of an authentic hinterland story and an ensemble cast did not really fire at the box office. And the first masala commercial movie of yours, a remake of superhit Pati Patni Aur Wo. My question about Sarki Arc is, the only criticism could be the casting of young mainstream actors like Tapsi and you to play characters of the shooting daddies who were in their 70s. In Hollywood, you would typically have a Meryl Streep or a Diane Keaton play these roles.
Sure.
So your response to that?
Just because you did mention Hollywood, we have had Meryl Streep in her younger days play older characters.
Right.
So I do feel like
that's
it's the directors. It's the director's prerogative. You always see, because, we always draw a lot of inspiration from the West, and we just feel like, the West is like a standard that we are trying to meet. So I'm just kind of indulge a little more in it. You have had many actors like Marlon Brando. He's like the godfather of acting, who has played like older parts. Again, it is every director has a vision. It is his story. It is his baby. It is his choice how he wants to play it out. And if I was the audience, would I want to see older women do it? Maybe yes. But as an actor, I would never have this opportunity, because when I heard the film, I was like amazed at what these women had achieved. And so, the truth is that we say that, unfortunately, there aren't enough roles written for women. That's changing. But there aren't enough roles written for women of a certain age group, and that is because your audiences don't support those films. So I know there was criticism, but by the end of it, the harsh truth is every filmmaker wants their film to commercially work. So from whatever commercial viability as producers and as directors they see, and that's why I feel like here the audiences need to change. If in the last 15 years that has had a cast that is not very conventional, and I only believe in being unconventional, but the thing is that we need that change to happen. So I don't know. It was Tushar's call, and I'm happy that he decided to cast us.
Pati Patni Aur Wo was the easiest choice which you could make. It was a commercial hit in the making from the first word. Why did it take so long for you to choose a movie which was so safe?
Actually, I'll tell you what, all the films that I've done now, I feel are kind of, I wouldn't say safe. Now look at it now, like the Akshay sir, Toilet Ek Prem Katha is one of my biggest commercial hits. That was a very commercial film. And I feel like the definition of a safe film has changed. The cinema that Ayushmann does is not safe at all.
Right.
The cinema that I do is not safe at all. But these films have worked.
Right.
In fact, and these films have worked in house. So I feel that for me, I don't understand box office. I don't understand what business works. I do stories that I enjoy. I heard Pati Patni or one, I enjoyed it. I wanted to play that girl. I was like, okay, finally there's this masala. And for me, the film was a more masala film. I wouldn't call it commercial, a slightly more masala film, because it had those songs and, so I was like, but if you remove the songs from the film is actually a very sweet, endearing story.
Right.
So it's the songs that kind of add the masala in it. And that's why when I read it, I was like, it's kind of empowering to both the women. It was interesting because, we'd not see a traditional, and more so because it was a remake, and the way they had adapted the film to today's times, it was a very modern take. On infidelity, on like relationships. And and honestly, internally, I've so grown up, seeing Kareena dance, Karishma dance, Madhuri ma'am, these are like Ravina Tandon. So I have always had that, I wanted to be a heroine. Let me simplify it, But I was just lucky that the definition of a heroine changed over years.
And you are responsible. I must congratulate you that you are one of the persons who's leading that change in Hindi movies.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your latest release on Netflix, Dolly Kitty Aur Wo Chamakte Sitare, where you collaborated with another talented actor, Konkona. Both of you playing the titular characters of Dolly and Kitty. Each time you have shared the screen with another leading lady, be it Konkona, be it Tapsi, or even be it Ananya, you look very, very comfortable. I think that's the movement towards women-centric films, movies, doing well in Bollywood. And I think it will somewhere definitely help in bridging the gap of the gender pay inequality which we have today. So what's your take on doing movies with other co-actors who are leading ladies of equal repute and stature?
So I want to start off by thanking you for this question, because usually the question is, did you get along with your female co-star? And I've never asked that about the male co-stars that I work with. So thank you so much. So you rightly pointed it out that I am very comfortable sharing space with my female co-stars because they honestly are my co-stars. It's a story, for me, the gender of the person doesn't matter. But what is important is that, and I keep saying this time and again, is that the fact that we kind of underline that these are stories about women, made by women directors or whatever, will help kind of reduce the gender disparity that is very, very, very large. I can't sit here and pretend like, there isn't like gender discrimination. Of course there is. I have been very lucky to have worked with co-actors that are very secure. So I have not personally felt it, maybe on a set, etc. But when it comes to your pay, the gender gap is ridiculous. I have in the lockdown read films where, they've been so excited, and then eventually when they've heard what I want, they've just kind of, it's not worked out. And the thing is, it is not about, the thing is that it's very important to know what you deserve as an actor. There's a certain progress that you will, that's the reason we all are working, right? We all are working to kind of achieve, but they just feel like, because they're giving you a role, you need to kind of, adjust. And I find that very bizarre because, you are taking me in your film because I bring something to the table as well. And it's a two-way process. And I feel like, it's time, at least for me personally, I mean, everybody has their own journey, where I've realized that it's very important to value yourself. Only then others around you will start valuing you. And more so now for women, it is so important to not undervalue or devalue the person that you are, because we put in a lot of work. We put in as much work as our male counterparts do. There is, I feel, especially where the pay gap is concerned, it should happen on your merit as an actor. actor. This is a business. There's a certain math to the business, So in that math, you need to understand what you kind of bring to the film and how much the film benefits out of you. And you should do that, because that's what's done with the male actors as well. I have been in situations where I've been paid 5% of what my male actors been paid, even though our achievements have been very similar. Right. And that's when I said that no, that's something I will not do, because it's not fair. It's not okay. And we've had women who have really fought very hard and kind of taken that spot, I just hope that with whatever I or my colleagues, we all are kind of in the same battle, are doing will kind of make things easier for the newer generations that'll come eventually.
But I've also seen in the past 3-4 years, there has been a substantial jump in the pay what leading ladies are also getting. So 100%. I think it's working somewhere, because you guys are doing great work in delivering numbers at the box office.
Exactly.
And that is converting into reducing that gap which existed probably 5 years, 10 years ago.
And thank God for that, because, it's again your audience. And I always say this, that, you have to come support films. You have to support a good film. It shouldn't matter whether it's helmed by a woman or a man, come support the work for what it is. And I can see that change. It's still slow, but it's happening nonetheless.
But it's happening also because of the movement what we are seeing due to OTT content. Because people today in this lockdown, one thing what has happened is, because the theaters were shut, they have consumed a lot of content sitting at home, which is very differently pitched, very differently crafted. So I think that's really helping the audience to understand and see content which is very, very different, and they're appreciating it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it will help in the long run.
We hope. And I really feel like there's a certain maturity that our audiences have now, as you rightly said, because of the exposure that they are getting. And I mean, for me, my journey has been very positive. I'm not bitter from any experience of mine, because touch wood, like honestly, at times I sit back and I think I'm like, I've only collaborated with good people. I'm only surrounded with men who believe in equality and who are fair and who've really been rather nice to me as I have been to them. I have only worked with women that believe in empowering me, because I want to empower them, and always work as a team. And I've worked with filmmakers that are just so wonderful, and stories that I'm so proud of, because the idea is to leave behind a legacy of good work. Nobody should kind of think of a film of mine and remember, nobody's going to remember isne itne crore banaye the, ya iska kya hua tha. I don't remember any film from 5 years ago or even 10 years ago of how many crores the film made. I just remember good films. I just remember films that had an impact on me, and that's exactly what I want to do with my work.
So what about lust stories? Like, did you enjoy working in a short film which was directed by Zoya? So what is that experience all about?
Beautiful. I think Zoya is just such a gifted director. It was very early on in my career, so honestly, I felt very fortunate to have had the chance to work with her. I only had one film out. I only had Dam Laga Ke Haisha out. And, while I was shooting for, I think, Toilet or Shubmangal Savda, I don't remember which one, I did Lust Story. So it was literally in the first year and a half of Dam Laga Ke Haisha coming out, and I loved Zoya. Luck by Chance is actually one of my most favorite film.
Even mine. So we agree on that. I love Luck by Chance.
It. Like, I still watch it because it's so entertaining, and obviously because we all are like in that world, there's some kind of a connect. But I love taking on challenges, and for me to be able to do a part that barely spoke. So for those 20 minutes, and there's a lot of me in the film, right? So you literally understand everything that's happening in the film through this girl. And for those 20 minutes, I literally just had one line. And obviously there was a lot of intimacy in the film. It's something that I had not done. The platform was different, but I was very secure about it because it was Zoya. I did know that she's just going to bring out the best of me, and that happened. And I think Love Stories is actually one of my most favorite works of mine.
So what's happening next? Like, how is Durgavati shaping up?
It's the first time that I have I'm kind of helming the film alone, solo. It's my There's a lot of responsibility on me. I'm very fortunate to have had some.
You are half of Dolly Kitty, now you are Durgavati.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had a co-star to kind of share that responsibility with. Now I'm kind of helming this film. Of course, there's Arshad sir, there's Jishu, there's Mahi, and you know, they are amazing and they are phenomenal in the film. I can't wait. The thing is, nobody has really seen anything of the film. There's not even been a first look. There's been nothing. So I'm very excited. I really want to see how people kind of react to this. I've never looked like this. People have never seen me in this avatar. I am, it's quite crazy. There's a lot of action and it's
so have you like kind of completed your shoot or?
Yes, I just completed it a couple of days ago actually. Okay. And so far the film, I mean, I don't know, fingers crossed.
Let's talk about your eco initiatives. Congratulations on Climate Warrior completing a year in September, just a few days ago.
Yeah.
What's the purpose behind this initiative and how did it come about?
This started because, you know, I have always lived in fear since I was very young. The fear was that one day our planet will dry up. One day there'll be no food. One day there'll be no water. And earlier I feared when I was younger, the fear was how will I survive? Now my fear is how will my future generations survive or just people survive? Because the truth is that, you know, just as human beings, we feel we are invincible. And that's not true. You know, I feel especially this year has really taught us a very big lesson. And I've always been compassionate towards nature and I've always tried doing whatever. But then I realized that, you know, today people have trust on me, you know, more because of the films that I do. And I have a very active platform and I decided to use my social media for positive change around me. And this is a cause that's very close to me. I feel it just came naturally to me. And I was very lucky that, you know, my team at YRF kind of resonated with this. And whatever has happened with Climate Warrior isn't me alone. Honestly, it's my entire team because they have pushed me so hard, especially because the last 2 years work was so intense. This is the first time maybe since my career started that I've been home, touch wood. You know, I've been filming back to back and they have been just such a huge strength and support. And the idea is to become an advocate for climate change and to have a voice so that people know it's important to coexist with nature.
Just last two small questions, one word answers. Favorite actor and director from anywhere in the world?
I think my favorite actor would definitely be Meryl Streep, like hands down. And one of my favorite directors actually is Mr. Satyajit Ray. I've seen his work at different ages and it's always had the same impact. And also if I have to think of an actor, I mean just actors that I really enjoy and appreciate, like I really love watching Amir Sir's work. In a girl crush way, I love Ryan Gosling. The list is very long actually.
Favorite holiday destination?
I think in India it'll be the hills, anywhere in the hills because I love going to the hills. Internationally, I love Europe. I can't really pick like a place. I love Europe.
3 places on your bucket list.
Kashmir. I want to do the 7 Sisters in India. It will be more specific to India because unfortunately I haven't really traveled much. I have, but not as much. I still have some places. And I want to see the Northern Lights. So I think Iceland.
Thank you, Bhumi, for talking to me on Teacher's Glasses Presents Bollywood Talkies with Outlook. Stay safe. Enjoy the success of Dolly Kitty and all the very best for Durgavati.
Thank you. You too. Please be safe. And to all our viewers, the virus is very active. The world unlock is on, but we still need to be safe. So please wear your mask and be diligent and don't be irresponsible. Talking about Ayushmann, he was my first hero. Right. And out of the 8 films that I've done, it's been 4 years, 3 have been with him. So he
Right.
will always, he's a very dear friend more than a
Right.
co-star. You know, I'm really fond of him, and his journey and his growth feels like, I feel very happy when I see him.
Right.
You know, I'm very happy for where he's reached, and he really deserves it because he's had such a long journey. And I think the forte that me, Ayushmann and I have is that there's a certain kind of cinema that we both kind of create when we get together.
Right.
And the 3 films that we've done have kind of been very true to that genre. And I feel very lucky that together we have created like a space with each other that is very rare. And I love collaborating with him